My name is Wendy Sachs. Again, welcome. I'm on the board of Plant Powered Metro New York, and I will read this even though I've done it several times. Plant Powered Metro New York empowers people to find better health and overcome chronic disease through a whole food, plant-based diet or through whole food, plant-based nutrition. Together with a wide network of grassroots leaders and educators, we raise awareness about the dramatic health benefits of whole food, plant-based nutrition. We build supportive communities that empower people to make lifestyle changes and organize and lead projects that spark changes to food policy, practice, and culture. One thing I'll mention is in New York, we are about to have elections for Manhattan Borough presidents and for our mayor. And so it's always a good time to write to your local people or anyone who sees them out on the street campaigning. It's a good time to engage them in conversation about food and health and climate if that's of interest to you. So one other little piece before we turn it over to Carole. I know that we are cooking with asparagus today. It's springtime, and Carole has prepared a fantastic spring menu. And I want to just read one little thing about asparagus, which is that asparagus has been hailed a miracle vegetable since the ancient times. The Greeks believed asparagus could cure a number of ailments from toothaches to heart disease. And they certainly weren't wrong, or so we're finding out. So everything she's cooking today has a lot of health benefits. And on that note, I'm going to turn it over to our delightful Chef Carole. What's on the menu today?
Hey, Wendy, thank you and welcome everyone. I'm so happy to have everyone here and I'm excited about spring, although I'm in New Mexico in the high desert and we had snow yesterday, quite a bit of snow, and so it's hard. I'm in the mode. We're all ready for spring, but we don't not quite spring here yet. Blossoming, but no tulips popping out quite yet. And I'm very excited about what I'm about to present today. A lot of these three recipes have lots of things that are overlapping, a lot of ingredients that are the same. And the first thing, we're going to make a chickpea frittata, which is something similar to like a quiche, only we're not making anything with eggs. Our base for the chickpea frittata is going to be made with chickpea flour. And then we're also making lettuce cups. And instead of putting what we know as to-no salad that's made with chickpeas, we're actually making a pate with sunflower seeds. So I thought that would just be nice change up because so many of us are all the time making things with chickpeas. And then the third thing is we're going to make a really nice spring salad with new potatoes, new red potatoes, peas, and radishes, because nothing says spring more than radishes. And so we're going to get started here. And I see the three dishes as kind of an appetizer or an entree, which is the pate. And then I also see the potato salad as a side. And then the frittata can be a breakfast, lunch, or a dinner thing, or it could be a snack. Doesn't really matter. But because the chickpea frittata has to get into the oven, we're going to start with the big part of the meal first, okay? And then we'll work backwards. So the very first thing that we're going to do is I have a big bowl here, and I have the chickpea flour already in the bowl. Okay, I'm just showing you that. And this right here is a cup and a half of chickpea flour. And if anyone doesn't know what chickpea flour is, you can get it in a bag like this. And this is the Bob Red Mill, and it comes in other brands, but I'm just showing you that is where I get that in the store with all the flour. Okay, now the spices that are going to go in here are quite interesting. We have a little bit of turmeric, okay, turmeric, which is going to help with the yellow color of the frittata. We're going to have a little bit of dried thyme, and I also wrote the recipe up with dried dill, but I don't have any dried dill, so you're going to see that I'm going to use some fresh dill. And then we have a little bit of cayenne, which is going to give it a little bit of a kick because we're not using that will give it a little spice. And then I want to say that there is an optional ingredient, and I don't want you all to run around and look for it, but I want to tell you there is something that is an Indian spice, and it's called kala namak, okay? And kala namak is what is called a black salt, and it's usually from the Himalayas. And I don't normally cook with any salt at all, but why I'm choosing to use just a very little bit of this salt is because this gives this dish a very eggy flavor, okay? But you certainly don't need to use it. I'm just mentioning it in case you want to use it. And there's so little bit here. It's less than a quarter of a teaspoon here. So these spices are going to go immediately into the bowl, and then we have a quarter cup of yogurt, okay? And what kind of yogurt is this? This is a plant-based yogurt. I particularly like a brand called Forager, which I actually will show you because we're using it in other places today. This is a small container of it right here. I'm just showing you. Can you see that, Wendy, okay?
If you bring it a little higher towards the camera in the front, it's called Forager. I'll put it in the
yeah,
chat.
it's called Forager, and it's a cashew milk yogurt. This one is unsweetened. You always want to make sure when you're baking or cooking to only get the plain kind. You don't want to get the kind with blueberries or strawberries, and even the kind that's made with vanilla is has a high content in sugar. So we're just using a quarter cup of this today, and that's going to go immediately in here. Okay, and I like getting it all out with my spatula. Now, we put 1.5 cups of chickpea flour. So whatever ratio you use of flour, that's the amount of water you're going to use. So we need to get 1.5 cups of water in here. Okay, and that's going to make our batter. So usually what I do is I start with the cup, okay, and when I measure the other half, but I don't put it all in right at one time, okay? Because what I like to do is I get my whisk and I like to get this all mixed up first. Because if any of you like to make any kind of batter, whether it's pancakes or anything liquid like this, liquid going into some dry ingredient, you know that you can get lumps, right? So my goal here is to get this all very smooth, okay? Very, very smooth. And then I add the rest of the liquid. Now, some of you might have seen me make pancakes using this exact same batter. And it can be used for pancakes as well, with lots of herbs. I think we did that last year at some point, but this is going to make a real frittata in a pan. So I'm putting the rest of the 1.5 cups, get rid of that, and that becomes our batter, okay? So, and I'm just getting that mixed up. Now at this point, it really is up to you what kind of vegetables. You can put any vegetables you want, and you can put any herbs. I love packing in the herbs in this and making it super, super fresh. So what I'm gonna just do for now is I am gonna take this out. Now I also made a smaller bowl of this, just so you know. I like to half the recipe when it's just for myself. So this full recipe that is written up is for a big 8 or 9 inch pie pan, okay? But you can half the recipe, which I made earlier, and it's just sitting here, and you'll see why I have 2 going on. But I just want to quickly show you that I want to put some fresh herbs in here. So we're going to put a little bit of dill, because I think the dill will be very, very nice with the asparagus. And in the recipe, it said to use dry dill, but I don't have any dry dill. So why not definitely put in? So we're just going to put that in like that. I also have a little bit of fresh basil, and I think that will be nice too, actually. So we talked about how to cut basil. Basil doesn't necessarily need to be cut. It can be actually torn. It's a very delicate herb, okay? And you can just easily tear that and go in, or you could do what is called a fancy chiffonade. The word, it's a French term, and what you do is you lay the base, you take the big leaves and you pile it all together, and then you roll it, okay? I'm just making a roll, okay? Just rolling it up. And what happens, you end up with this little roll, okay? And then you just chop it very thin, okay? And that is called a chiffonade. And that is the best way usually to chop basil. You never want to chop basil like you chop parsley or cilantro because it's a very delicate herb, okay? So at this point, anything can go in here, okay? And what I'm going to show you is this one I'm holding for the asparagus. This one, I want to show you what I mean by anything can go in here. I actually have a little bit of leftover things, meaning I had a teeny bit of broccoli, I had a little end of some yellow peppers, and I had just some cherry tomatoes. Okay, I don't have any onions in here at all. I cooked this broccoli for a couple minutes in a dry saute pan with just a little bit of water. I think you could put it in raw because it's gonna cook in the oven, but I did definitely cook it. So let's just say you wanted to make half a recipe, and you'll see why I'm gonna tell you about half a recipe. Let's remove this. And this has no herbs in it yet. It could get anything. But again, I'm just putting in the vegetables. Okay, if you felt like you wanted to put a scallion in it, right? We could add that just right now. Let's just do that because it doesn't have any onion. Okay, and again, I'm just wanting to show you the versatility of this recipe, okay? Very important that you understand that recipes are not set in stone, right? Okay, so this is going to be one batch. This is going to be for our asparagus. Now, I cooked asparagus ahead of time, and I only cooked it for a very few minutes in the oven, in a hot oven. I put it on a piece of a sheet pan with parchment paper, and I cooked these asparagus, okay? Now, many of you might not know how to cook asparagus or even how to clean asparagus. So I have several here, and I just want to show you the proper way, okay? This ends are very woodsy, okay, woodsy. And all you need to do is that it has a natural break. So you literally just clip. They just literally, wherever it breaks, it breaks. It's usually the last 2 inches, okay? Sometimes you end up breaking more. You want to get rid of those into the bowl, okay? And that is your way of prepping. Of course, you have to wash them ahead of time because there can be a little bit of sand in the little tips. Okay, one of my very favorite things is in the spring is making asparagus soup, and I think the asparagus soup I made that it's on our YouTube channel actually, so if you want to look for that. But these would be your prepped asparagus, okay? And what I did was I put them on a sheet pan. And I didn't put any oil or anything. I put it in a hot oven, 375, 400 degrees. And I put a little bit of juice. You could put lemon juice, orange juice, whatever, anything just to give it a little moisture. And then what I got were these very beautiful cooked asparagus. Okay, but I didn't cook them. These are thin ones. You could use fat ones. And so it's hard to tell you exactly how long it's going to take to cook because they are in different, some are fat and some are pencil thin. These are very, very thin ones. And both fat ones and skinny ones have a real purpose. And they both taste delicious. So we can do one of 2 things here. We can cut this up and just put it in, which is what I'm going to do here. I'm going to show you that instead of, I'm going to leave a couple behind to make decorative. And I'm just going to cut these into 1 to 2 inch pieces. Okay, so and these are all going to go in here. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm saving these, and I'm going to show you what we're going to put it in so that it can bake. The oven is preheated, and I've got 2 different kinds of pans. Okay, ideally, if you had a silicone pan, and we've talked a lot about different kinds of baking pans, and if you're not cooking with oil, the silicone pans are like almost magic because you don't need to spray them, you don't need to even line them with a piece of parchment usually, you just pour in whatever you're cooking into the silicone pan and put it in the oven and it pops out. I assume some of you know these things because you've watched me make muffins many times or brownies, but I'm just telling you that silicone pan is a really good, useful tool. But I'm assuming a lot of you, like myself, don't have a round silicone pan. I don't have a, until yesterday. But let me just, so I'm using a clear pie pan, okay? And what I did was I took a piece of parchment and rather than having to grease this, I actually traced a circle, okay? I traced a circle and then I cut the circle. And oops, I'm just now letting it fly to the ground, which is not good. But what I did, so you know, is once that circle was cut, I cut it and I trimmed it and I folded it in half. And I just literally keep folding it on its point so many times, right? And then I trimmed it round. And then you kind of end up with these little scallopy edges, okay? But that's the piece of paper that is going to go in here that is going to allow this to come out of this pan, okay? So let's get this in the pan right now. And let's hope that it doesn't move too much. I'm going to get this in here like this, okay? And it's going to try to show you. We'll move the asparagus around a little bit. And it's not even, it's going to give the, because the parchment paper is going to give the frittata a little bit of scallop edges. It's really pretty when it comes out. You see the picture on your recipe. Okay, so that's exactly enough for a normal 9-inch pie pan. Okay, now I want to actually maybe make this a little decorative. So I'm going to put, let's just see, we'll put a whole asparagus like this, maybe one like this, and one like this. Okay, and then I also want to get some tomatoes in there. Now it's up to you which kind of tomatoes that you use. I am going to use this big tomato here, and I'm just going to give it a slice. I have a very sharp knife to cut these, and maybe I'm not going to have the whole tomato because it's really big, and I'm just going to make a nice little pattern here. Okay, it's up to, again, that's up to you how you decorate the top. Okay, I'm going to put this, maybe need another slice or two here. Okay, cut this in half. And this is going to go in a very hot oven. And this particular, the big one, might not get done in time for our class. But we have one that's already cooked so that you can see it. But I just want to show you that I'm putting all of this here. And we've used all the asparagus. And this is gonna, there. That is what that looks like. Everyone can see. I don't want to tilt it too much.
It's
but that's
beautiful. So beautiful, Carole.
So this is now just going to go right in the oven. Okay, so I'm going to run away and put this in the oven. And it's not even going on a sheet pan. And technically, it's supposed to cook 40 to 45 minutes. Okay, technically. I also want to show you, I bought 2 new pans yesterday, which I was quite excited about. I went to 2 kitchen stores here locally and nobody had silicone pans, but as I dug around in the store, I found these really cute pans. And I've given Wendy actually a link to post because I think some of you are gonna like these pans. One thing I love doing very much is to serve individual servings. So when I saw 5-inch pans that were silicone, and guess what? Look, they have glass. They have glass at the bottom, okay? And technically, yesterday I made a couple of these little frittatas in here. It's really fun. And I just wanna show you that it has a ring in here and these pop out, okay? So this is glass, right? It's glass, and this is the ring. Okay, and ideally I was looking for a real silicone pan that had a silicone bottom, but this works really beautifully. I'm excited because I make cheesecake, and I think these will be awesome for bigger cheesecakes, but that's what this pan, okay? So what's super cool is yesterday when I made these in here, they got a little bit stuck to the glass here. So today what I'm doing is a little experiment. I cut out a circle of parchment in the bottom. Okay, and these this makes this half a recipe that you all have, half a recipe goes in, and it makes 2 of these 5-inch things. Okay, so this is going in with the broccoli and the peppers, all the really nice things that I had left over in the fridge that were getting lost in the fridge. I'm one of those people that will have an end of something, a half a pepper, and I'll usually eat it, or I'll put it in one container in the refrigerator, and I'll just say, okay, all the ends are going together. So today I took out the ends of the broccoli. I had a little bit of pepper, and so we now have this. Okay, that's, yes.
A quick question while we're on the frittata regarding the yogurt, the cashew yogurt.
Yes.
Is there a substitute for the yogurt, like perhaps a plant milk with vinegar?
Absolutely. Honestly, you don't need the yogurt. You could do plant-based milk. You could do almond milk. You could do oat milk. You could, and if you didn't have the milk, honestly, water would do it. It's just that the yogurt has a little bit of richness to it because it's made with the nuts, right? And so it just has a little more flavor. But you could omit it entirely, Wendy.
If you used milk, would you add a little bit of vinegar?
You could, if you wanted to sour it. Yes, you could definitely do that. Okay. I love souring the plant milk to make the kind of more like a balsam, more like a buttermilk, right?
Right.
Because that's what it would be. You would do it with the apple cider vinegar or the regular vinegar. You wouldn't do it with balsamic vinegar, but you would definitely do it with either apple vinegar or the white vinegar.
Excellent.
And I wouldn't even use red vinegar. Anyway, but this is so that everyone understands, and I think a little bit of I don't know, let's just see, we could have, I'm just going to put just a little bit of basil on these ones. Okay, just tearing it off. We just for freshness, right? And these are going to go in the oven, and I think these will cook soon and fast because they're small. Okay? So these are going in the oven, and we'll have to remember that they're there. And everything's good. That's all good, okay? So is there any questions related to what we just did? Because I want to move on to the next thing.
We're ready to move on. That was the only question.
Really? Wow, fantastic. I'm amazed. So the next thing is a really fun, I'm calling it a pate, right? And pate is like a spread, right? And it's going to be served in these lettuce cups. And, and I always like to talk about the recipes, right? I type up these recipes for you as a guide and something for you to have, but you definitely don't, you can ad lib, and as you get comfortable with things, you can change the proportions according to your own liking. And today, and I always put them in these plastic 3-ring binder so that they don't, when they get wet or dirty, I can easily wipe them off, and then they can go right back into the binder when I'm done. Okay, so we are now on to the sunflower pate, and that for the pate, this is what we need. We're going to need raw sunflower seeds. We're going to need something called Cornichons, which are like my favorite thing in the world. And then we're going to need a small shallot. And in case some of you might not know, what is a shallot? It's a small onion, okay? I want to say it's kind of a cross between a red and a yellow onion, right? Because this is something that you can eat in a salad raw, just like a red onion. And you could also cook it too. And it's mild, okay? It's very mild. And I have it, this particular shallot came like this. And in my recipe, I just say use one small. And just like when we talk about cloves of garlic, learn to recognize what a normal size garlic is. So in case you have to ad lib, I'm going to say this is a pretty big shallot. And I'm going to say that half of this, one side, is probably a normal shallot, okay? So again, it's up to you how much onion you're going to put into it. So, but I wanted you to see that this one came whole like this, a shallot. And then we need to have Dijon mustard. And we also need to have some lemon juice. And I was talking the other day to someone in California, and I was saying, one thing I love being on the West Coast again is having an abundance of Meyer lemons. It's like joy to my, because if this is a regular lemon, just so you see, a regular lemon, and then this is a Meyer's lemon. They're darker in skin. And when I was in New York, I used to get them at the Trader Joe's when they were in season, which is usually in the early, I'd say late February, March, and definitely in California in abundance all the time. And it's a darker skin, and Meyer's lemon is very sweet smelling. It's not as tart. It's darker yellow, very tender skin, and very, very delicious. So if you've never had one, I'm just encouraging you to try a different kind of lemon, okay? But I definitely, this is a baker's lemon. People make lemon curd and all sorts of baking things come out of these Meyer lemons. So we'll need lemon juice. So what I want to show you first is that I have sunflower seeds just soaking in a cup here. They're way down there. I have 1 cup of sunflower seeds, and these are raw sunflower seeds, not salted. They're out of their shell. And what I'm gonna do is just get them drained, okay? Get those drained. And I'm gonna just get a spatula, my handy dandy spatula. I've decided that I need to have a gazillion of these small spatulas. These little spatulas, I thought I have 3, and I now think I need 6 or 9 of them, because you can never seem to have enough spatulas. And these little ones are perfect for your hand to go into cups and bowls, and I don't know, I just learned to love these small spatulas. Okay, so what we're gonna do is this is all gonna go into some kind of food processor, okay? And you could put it into your Vitamix, you could put it into your Nutribrilla. I'm using the Cuisinart, which is called a food processor. This is called an S-blade because it looks like an S, okay? And we're gonna put all our ingredients into that, okay? So why am I using this? You could use anything. It's just that I like to be able to look in and to open the top and be able to taste and adjust. Where the other 2 machines, this is a small amount, and if you have a big Vitamix, you might only be using the bottom part of it, and it might just not be enough pate in the Vitamix. And then the NutriBullet is great. It's an inexpensive tool, and I encourage people to have it. So let's get these drained sunflower seeds into there, okay? That's our drained sunflower seeds. The next thing is we need 8 to 10 cornichons, okay? And people might say, I don't know what a cornichon is. I've never even heard or seen one. So I am here to tell you that it's like one of my favorite things in the world beside capers. Now, both capers, which we'll use later, and cornichons are in brine, and they are in a salt brine. So if you're sensitive and trying not to use any salt at all, you can easily rinse them. Cornichon is a French term, and it is for a small pickle that is the size of your finger, okay? It's really like a small little pickle. Now, this is not to be confused with the little sweet pickles that we all liked as a kid. I don't know, my mother used to give me these little pickles that were really sugary and delicious, and that is not what a cornichon is. This cornichon is a French name, and if you were to go to the store and say, oh, I can't find any cornichons, you would look for dill gherkins, okay? Dill gherkins. They make sweet gherkins, but you want dill ones, okay? Because that way you are getting not the sweet ones. So this particular brand, Male, which I think Wendy will post for you in case you want, has this really awesome thing in the middle. It's this little plastic thing, and right now it's so full, but it allows you to pick them up, get them drained, and we need 8 of these, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, okay? And I want to just show you what they look like, okay? They're like that. Remember I told you they're as big as your finger, okay? And they are my favorite thing. I love them so much, okay? You can also get these at Trader Joe's, very inexpensive. Here locally, this is all I could find, this fancy brand, but definitely they are available at Trader Joe's. Okay. And then we're using our small shallot, right? So let's get that out of its skin and just cut that. And I'm really not going to bother to slice or chop it. I'm going to just give it a rough chop. Okay. And we are, see, I told you that it was pink and a little bit red, right? And that is going to be, I'm just going to give it what we call a rough chop. Okay. And you keep seeing me reach over here, but I always have a bowl on my counter to put garbage in. Okay. So it's constantly everything's going into there. Okay. So I'm just going to give this like a rough chop because it's all going to get pureed in there. Then we need 2 teaspoons of Dijon mustard. Okay. And I have a groovy teaspoon here that actually says 2 teaspoons. I know that I talk about this all the time. I encourage everyone to have at least 2 sets of measuring spoons, okay? 2 sets, because all the time you're dirtying one and then you're needing to have another clean one. So having 2 sets of spoons is really good. I also encourage you to take them off their little ring. They are sold to you like that as a family, but they don't need to stay on the ring, because surely if you're just using 1 teaspoon, you don't need to get all the other 4 spoons dirty. In addition to the 2 sets that I encourage everyone to have for the measuring spoons, there's something called incremental numbers, incremental spoons, which are like a tablespoon and a half or a teaspoon and a half. This one happens to be 2 teaspoons because it's a common measurement. And instead of using 2 actual teaspoons, I can go right into my mustard here and say, oh, I've got 2 teaspoons already measured. Okay. Again, with the spatula, you're just getting all that out. You never want to waste any mustard. Okay. And then we need 1 tablespoon of lemon. And I think I'm going to use this beautiful Meyer's lemon. And I have my little handy dandy squeezer that I like very much. And the seeds are in here, but this is going to allow the seeds. And I'm not even going to measure. Okay. I'm just know that approximately a half a lemon, if it's juicy, is going to be 2 tablespoons. Okay. But honestly, you can never have too much lemon. Okay. So I'm not going to squeeze it all out, and I'm going to put that over here. Let's put this here. And then it also says that I encourage you to put a little lemon zest into this combination, because I'm not using any salt to bring up the flavor. So one way to bring up the salt is to using some kind of zest. So I'm taking the lemon, which I've washed very well, okay? And there's such a thing called a microplane, okay? And it's a tool that I can't live without, actually. And I'm just going to put, and you want to just rotate your lemon, okay, from all the sides. And you can see that I'm not ever going beyond the top of the piece of lemon. It's like taking the top layer, but never going to the pith part. So as soon as you get to the white part, you rotate the lemon, okay? And I'm just doing a bunch of lemon, because this is really going to give it, besides the lemon juice, this is going to bring up the flavor. I did about a tablespoon, so I'm just showing you all what this all looks like, okay? And we're going to get rid of this for a moment. And I think we are done with this lemon, but let's just put it here. It's very pretty. And then that's it. Oh, and we need the yogurt, okay? So we're back to someone asking, do I need to use the yogurt to make this pate? I know this is going to be a question, and no, you don't need to use the yogurt. It's just, again, it's going to give it a richer flavor, but you certainly can use some kind of plant-based milk. It's just you won't need very much plant-based milk, because you are going to it's not going to need it. You're just going to need the milk to get it all pureed and a nice consistency. This particular recipe says to use 1 whole container of this yogurt. Okay, so I'm just taking off the lid here, Okay, we're gonna get rid of that lid, and we're gonna get my handy dandy spatula, and we're gonna put all of this yogurt. Now, I know that we need all this yogurt in here, but I always keep a little behind because I like just putting like 3/4 of it in to see, do I need more yogurt or can I get away with less? So this now is going to the Cuisinart way over here, and we're gonna get this on, remove this. I'm gonna peek at the frittata while we're here. Okay, things are cooking, nothing's happening. And we're gonna put the lid on here, and we're gonna puree this until it's as smooth as possible, okay? Now I'm stopping it. I'm gonna get my handy dandy spatula, and we're gonna scrape down the side, okay? And right now it's still very chunky, and it's very chunky. And I want to make it much more smooth, okay? We're just going to leave that going. Okay, I'm going to bring this closer to you so you can see what it looks like. Okay, look, I want to show you how smooth it is. Okay, can you see that? Is that a good, everybody can see that it's smooth? Okay, does it, and it doesn't really need, it's pretty thick. And I'm gonna hold this little bit of yogurt back, okay? I hate putting away little amounts of things in the fridge, as you just heard me talk about it when I was making the quiche. But this could go into a smoothie tomorrow, or actually later we could use it in when we're making the cashew cream or something. It can go away, but I don't think this needs anything else. Okay, and I'm just gonna, now, of course, you always want to taste everything you make before you go setting it up. And I just want to taste to see, does it have onion flavor? Does it lemony flavor? Oh my God, it's so yummy. It's so yummy because we're not used to having this flavor. This flavor is yummy, yummy. It's so yummy because all of us, or if you've been making no tuna, chickpea salad forever, this is a welcome. This is like a really nice, like, wow, I can do something else and I don't have to all the time be eating tuna salad. And this is a really nice, versatile thing. And honestly, I'm leaving it a little bit of texture, just a little bit, but not too much, okay? And then we're gonna put that in a nice little bowl. Let's just get a little serving bowl. And I am going to put that here, just right in here in a bowl. Now I made this last weekend, I want to tell you, and I've been eating it all week. So if someone wonders how long can this stay, I can at least tell you that it's been in my fridge since last Sunday. So 1 week is definitely good. And I bet you could freeze it if you wanted. Okay, so that's going to go in there. We are going to make lettuce cups, but I also want to show you that if you wanted, it would be delicious. Absolutely delicious on a piece of toast. And I have fallen in love. You know, I always am talking about using Ezekiel bread. It's very healthy. But I have found a nice hearty bread here where I live. And it's very delicious. And there, I make it just a piece of toast. This is leftover. We can have that just sit here. So how are we going to assemble these? First of all, I want to have a little bit of dill. I think would be delicious just on the top there. Okay. And then we are going to, we have a dirty cutting board, but I have a beautiful head of lettuce. Okay. Beautiful, beautiful. It's been washed. It's still a little drippy wet here. Let's get the water out of here. Okay. This is a butter leaf red lettuce. Okay. But ultimately, what do you want? You want to just make cups. And this is a beautiful lettuce because you can really see where the, and if you take the knife and you just cut off this end, you see there's some sand in there, right? There is definitely, let's just throw that in there. Okay, and you definitely don't want any sand, right? So we're going to use these inner leaves. Okay, these are the cups, right? So we can just put some cups there. We're going to make a bunch of cups. Okay, and this is going to be instead of eating bread, right? Because we don't all need, some of us are watching our weight, and it's just nice to be able to serve little cups, right?
Carole, sorry, did you leave out the capers or are they coming?
Oh, you know what? I did leave out the capers. I'm so glad that you asked me that.
We have
So let's
somebody
just
on
add
the
the
call in the
capers.
chat.
Let's just, you know what?
Cheryl.
And the crazy thing is that I tend to sometimes just memorize these recipes and forget that I should be looking and not just memorizing. So I appreciate whoever remembered besides you, Wendy. Maybe someone in our group remembered, but it's never too late, right? So what will we do? We're going to just pour this back in. It's got a little dill in it, right? Doesn't matter. And we have our handy dandy 2 teaspoons, which I love so much. And it's hard to believe because I was talking so much about loving capers and loving cornichons. And my second love is capers. I always said my alias name would be Chickpea Caper one day. So we have 2 teaspoons. That's it. That's only what we need are 2 teaspoons. So how do we rectify this in 1 second? We just put it on back to the Cuisinart. Easy, easy peasy. This goes in here. Lid comes off. Probably tastes better now too. Let's get this rinsed to make sure that I don't double dip. I call it double dipping. You never want to put something in your mouth and then put it inside. You have to be careful about that. We all are really conscientious these days of germs. And that, so we're going to put this in here. Okay. That is beautiful. It now has a dill flavor inside because we ground a little dill. Taste it. Still very delicious, actually. I'm not sure if I can really notice the difference with the capers, but it's very delicious. Anyway, we're going to go backwards here and put my little decoration back on the top. That's what we're going to serve. And then these little, what I'm going to do with the rest in here is we're going to start to assemble these cups, okay? So I have a little bit of sliced red pepper here, okay? And I'm going to put maybe 2, and then I'm going to put a piece of, I think I'll leave that for the top. And then I have a scooper, my little handy dandy, what you all often see me making muffins with. And I'm going to use this little scooper, and I'm just going to scoop that in like that. Okay, and then we could put a sliced cucumber. We can do it however we'd like. They can be however fancy you would like. Okay, I'm putting the pepper down. Oops, there goes the leaf right there. And we're going to put the scoop. Okay, and that goes in there. Piece of cucumber, maybe on the top this time. Okay, we're going to make 4 of these, right? Okay, and we're going to serve the plate. We're going to keep it in a little cup. I like doing that. Look, see, now we're going to put this time, we're going to put the pepper on, and then we're going to put this on top. Okay, let's just do 4 of them. I think 4 of them will be plenty. And then get the scoop out. Okay, this is a very little leaf. And we're going to put the pepper. I like putting the pepper actually down at the beginning, to tell you the truth. And then we're going to put the cucumber at the top. Okay, and then let's remove this, get this over here. And then we are going to decorate them with cherry tomatoes. Okay, so I'm going to put cherry tomato, can go on the top like that. Again, it's all presentation. We all eat with our eyes, right? And this one has a cuke right there. And I want to say that yesterday I was cooking up a storm and I had a leftover onion, red onion. So I said, oh my gosh, what would be delicious? I've been eating this all week long, this sunflower pate. And I thought, what would be more delicious than pickled onions? So you don't have the recipe of this, but I'm going to say it really slow, Wendy, and maybe you can get it in the chat. But it's so simple. But first, let me show you what are pickled onions. They're here in a bowl. They're red onions. And I love pickled onions, and they're just going to go on the top. Again, this is just adding an extra dimension, okay? And that is the pickled onions. I've been making a lot of Southwestern food, and these pickled onions are really delicious. So you slice a red onion, okay? Very thin, so that you have rings, right? That's what you're gonna do. You could do with 1 onion, 3 onions. This is not a formal recipe, okay? It's really simple. These are quick, easy pickles. So after you cut your onions, you boil some water, and you pour the boiling water on top of your onions, okay? That immediately kind of cooks the onions for maybe a second or two. Then you're going to drain them, okay? You're going to drain your onions. Then you're going to take your onions and you're going to put them in a bowl or a jar, whatever you want, but mine were in a bowl. And I put equal amounts of water and vinegar. I used 1/3 cup for 1 onion. I used 1/3 cup of apple cider vinegar to 1 cup of water, okay? Now I know everyone's gonna say, oh, do I need apple cider vinegar? Well, you could do it with the white vinegar. You could probably do it with the red vinegar, but the best vinegar for this is the apple cider vinegar, or the other best vinegar for this is the rice wine vinegar, okay? So 2 vinegars that I'm recommending is either the rice wine vinegar or the apple cider, because they have the most flavor. So whatever proportion of vinegar you use the same amount of water, okay?
Wait, you're saying the same amount of water to vinegar, but I thought you said 1/3 cup of vinegar to 1 cup water, which is
no 1/3 cup. So if I said that, I'm going to correct myself. It's the same proportion. So if you're using 1/3 cup vinegar, you're going to use 1/3 cup water, okay? So say whatever amount of vinegar, if it's 2 tablespoons of vinegar, you're going to use 2 tablespoons of water, okay?
okay.
Does
Great.
everyone have that?
Yeah.
And then I put a bay leaf in it just for flavor. And then I put a couple of black peppercorns. I put like 10 peppercorns, whole peppercorns. That's just for flavor. And then I put a cover on it and I put it in the refrigerator. And now you have pickled onions, okay? That happens within an hour, okay? You don't have to, you can eat them within the hour practically, but the longer they sit in this vinegar, the more delicious they are, okay? Here's our piece of toast. You could put a little bit of salad on this if you want. Right? You could put an avocado, a slice of avocado. And I thought you could even put a slice of radish if you wanted. Oh, we have these cucumbers. I forgot, we have these cucumbers. So look, you could make a nice little sandwich. Okay? Does everyone see that?
Carole, hold it up just a little higher. Oh, gorgeous. And also the beautiful lettuce cups when you get a chance, because they were just so pretty.
Okay, let me cut this little thing into, I like having the little lemon. It's like, kind of reminds you that you're not eating fish, but you're having lemon. And that's what this looks like.
Oh, that's just beautiful. What a gorgeous plate.
Okay, so everyone understands, and I hope I didn't confuse you with the onions. Does anyone have questions? Because I did not provide the recipe for the onions. Okay, that is definitely something that I just did yesterday when I was cooking, because I had 1 onion left and I thought, wouldn't it be nice to have pickled onions for things? And so I just made it quickly, and they are very, very quick. So I'll keep those on the same platter. And then how would you eat one of these lettuces? Someone might ask, like, why do you eat this? It just naturally cups, right? Like this, and it just takes bites, right? Okay, I'm not gonna do that right now, but I just want you to see that it's very easily to eat. And then we have our very, very yummy, delicious, can't get any much more yummier than this kind of sandwich.
Right,
Okay?
yummy. Jody in the chat was just commenting how lovely that would be for a Mother's Day brunch or for high tea. And
Oh,
the
great
plate looks
idea.
just like that. Exactly. Lovely idea.
I love the idea so very much. And I think this whole thing is that everything we're making today is so interchangeable as far as brunch or dinner or breakfast. It's a frittata that could be eaten in the morning. It could be dinner. These cups can be brunch or they can be a snack in the afternoon. So there's a lot of versatility here. And it's also, there's a lot of overlapping ingredients. So it means that you could make this, you know, you buy a thing of yogurt and then you use it for 2 or 3 set different things. Okay. Does that all make good sense?
Yes.
And we don't have a lot of questions today, so I'm thinking that everybody is just enjoying and having a good time.
Yes.
Is there any?
That we have about 49 people, and welcome to those of you who are actually here from Taos. And I know we've got people from all over, but some familiar names to Carole. Your friend Beth Carole, I think.
Oh, how nice. She says hi. How nice. I'm just going to look at these, everyone, and I'm going to show them to you from a distance. Well, not from a distance. You never do this. You don't leave an oven open because you're letting out all the heat. But this is, you know, so I just want you to see what's going on here. This is totally solid, right? It's starting to crack and it's starting to get brown. Okay, it's still probably not quite done inside. So we just need to let it cook for a few more minutes. Okay. And how are these ones doing? These ones are actually cracking and probably almost done. But oops, I just touched a wet part. So this is definitely still cooking too.
Okay? We're getting a lot of comments saying, cool, gorgeous. I think we're all going to be ready to have dinner at your place in Taos.
Oh my God. Could all of you please run and come, because I'm overwhelmed by just first of all, I like sharing, right? It's my very favorite thing to do. So we are going to move on to the last dish, and we are doing okay on time. I see we're not terribly behind, and we are going to get a big bowl out here, and we are going to make a very fun and easy potato salad. Okay. And what I want to do with this potato salad first is to tell you, how is this potato salad going to hold together? There are 2 potato salads that all of us know. There's the kind with mayonnaise, right? Which I'm not going to show you because that has a ton of eggs and a ton of oil. And then there's the kind of a really yummy potato salad, which is made with vinegar, just usually vinegar and a little bit of oil. And I have demonstrated a vinegar potato salad, and the vinegars that I love very much with potatoes are usually a sherry vinegar. And it's lovely when you cook the potatoes and they're hot, and then you put the vinegar on as soon as those potatoes are done. But we're going to make a creamy potato salad today. And there are 2 dressings that we can have, okay? We can do one of 2 things. So I'm going to show you the more interesting way, but if you want to be using a cream and not making a cashew dressing for it, because the cashew dressing is going to be very rich, and if you're trying to watch your weight or you're not wanting to eat any kind of yogurt, then any kind of cashew cream, then I would say use the yogurt, the same yogurt that we discussed, as your binder for this potato salad. Okay, so the very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to just get the dressing out of the way very fast. And at the bottom of your page, in the middle of the recipe, I say you can use unsweetened plain yogurt or cashew sour cream. Now, everyone should know how to make cashew sour cream, because you can use it in your soup. If you make a carrot ginger soup, or I make mushroom soup a lot, and I like it to be creamy, so I usually put a little cashew cream in. So I'm making just a very small recipe. I have here cashews that have been soaking all day. I suggest the longer you soak them, the better. If you can soak them overnight, you would just put them in a refrigerator and put a lid on top. But I woke up this morning, put the cashews in a cup, put a lid on it, and they've just been sitting on the counter. And they're very, very soft, okay? And the longer you let them sit, the smoother your cream is gonna be, okay? Now, again, I only make a little bit of cashew cream because I just don't want it hanging out in my refrigerator too long, and it can spoil. So I'm just making a little bit, just enough for our potato salad. Okay, so we're going to put this aside, and then we're going to add 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, and then 1/4 cup of water. So let's get our water in so I don't forget. Okay, so 1/2 cup of nuts to 1/4 cup of water. And then we're gonna put a little bit of lemon juice, and I have this lemon here, and I have the little squeezer here. Let's just rinse this out really quick. Okay, and again, I'm just not gonna measure this. I'm just gonna eye it and know that that's gonna be like 1 tablespoon, okay? And particularly, I never throw these out. They're very good for cleaning your cutting board, actually. A little salt and a little bit of lemon on your cutting board is a good way to clean your cutting board. I actually use these for my copper pots, an old trick I learned from my grandmother, that if you take your copper pots and you put salt and then you put lemon, it brings it all to a big shine. So I never throw these out. Okay, so that's that. Now, an optional ingredient, you could just put this on to get all mixed up, and we could get it all smooth, but I'm going to do one extra thing, which is I have a little bit of nutritional yeast, okay, just a little bit, and it says a half a tablespoon, and we were just talking about my incremental spoons, and this is actually 1/2 tablespoon. Now, the other day in class, I had to make vegan Parmesan cheese, and this has nutritional yeast and some cashews in it. So rather than just going into my nutritional yeast, I'm just going to use what I called my Parmesan cheese. I'm just going to put the just that right in there like that. Okay, so that's going to be our cream. Now, if I felt like it, I have this little bit of yogurt here, and I could add this to here just to get rid of it so it's not a pain to have something. But let's see how this goes. Let's get this plugged in. Okay, and the NutriBullet has a lid like this that goes upside down. And I told you the reason I like using the Cuisinart so much is because you can open it constantly and just look in. This actually is going to go upside down. So you want to really make sure that that's tight. Okay, and we're going to get rid of that. We're going to put this on. And we want this to be as smooth as possible, okay? Well, that's definitely done. I'm thinking very much about our little things in the oven. So let me look here. Okay, the big one is almost done, but I'm going to take these out. They're brown and they look fantastic. So they're going to go right there. I'm going to center this one. That's just going to cook a little bit more till it's brown. I'm going to have it in my head in a few minutes that it's going to be done. And we're going to look at this cream. Okay. Let's see how our, oh, wow. This is really super thick. Super thick. And I just want to show it to you so you see. I haven't made a ton, but look at what that looks like, okay? And let's just see what it tastes like. It's no longer grainy, okay? All of those cashews have broken down, and it's very smooth, and it resembles sour cream, honestly. And it's rich and delicious, very rich and delicious. And we don't need a lot of this, okay? And we have quite a bit stuck in here. So I'm not going to spend the time to get this totally clean, but just know that I try never ever to leave any of this behind. You don't want to waste anything. I worked in restaurants for many years, and they would have written us up. You've left too much in the container. We would have been in trouble for that. So anyway, let's get to the potato salad because it's fast. We're going to get all the peas These peas are frozen peas. If you're living near a farmer's market and it is springtime, you probably can get fresh peas, but there's nothing wrong with frozen peas, okay? And did I cook these? I actually cooked them for a very few seconds in a saute pan with just a hair of water. They were frozen, and I just cooked them for just very few minutes, okay? So I'm gonna put all of these peas into this bowl, okay? All of them. Look at that, a ton of them, okay? We also are gonna have some garlic, which I could have put into this sour cream when we were mixing, but I'm not sure I'm gonna need all that for the potato salad. So I just kept the garlic out. Okay, and we're gonna use some parsley. And then we can use one of two kinds of mustard. I like showing you two things. We have the Dijon mustard that we used earlier, and then we have another kind of mustard that has no salt in it. This is a stone ground mustard. It's made by a company called Westbury Natural, and it's a stone ground mustard, and what makes it so special is it has no salt in it, which is amazing, but it's kind of hard to find. If you're living in New York City, I used to get it all the time at Health Nuts, which is both on the Upper West Side and on the East Side. If not, it's definitely available on Amazon, but it's not a common, this is not a common mustard that you can find. You can find stone ground mustard in the grocery store, but you can't find the kind with no salt. So if you're watching your salt intake, look for this because it is quite delicious. Okay, so the other thing that we have is we need our potatoes, right? And I was cooking the potatoes just right before class, and I suggested to all of you, once you boil the potatoes and you've got them so that they're perfect, and the way to test them so that's perfect is to take a sharp knife, right? And just put your knife through it, and then you know that it's done, okay? Now I could have cut all these, but I'm gonna cut them really quickly while I'm talking to you. Okay, so now, Wendy, at this moment, while I'm just cutting potatoes, would be a really good time just to answer some questions, because now how am I cutting these potatoes? Maybe someone wants to know. The big ones, if they're tiny like this, I'm just gonna cut it so that it's in half, okay? That's it, just in half. But some of these are quite big. These are new potatoes. So I'm cutting it in half, okay? And then I'm cutting it in half again. So I have quarters, and then I'm cutting it again. So now I've ended up with all the bites, because you don't want people to eat a gigantic bite. You want it to be mouth size. Any questions, Wendy?
There are no questions at the moment, and I just made a little bit of a mistake in the chat wanting to put your website up, but I put up the upcoming events from Plant Powered Metro New York. Actually, there is a question. Potato salad with sherry vinegar you just mentioned.
Yes, it's my favorite,
Do
actually.
you have that recipe with the sherry vinegar on your website?
You know, I think I do. I think I might. I'm not sure. There's definitely a potato salad because I'm constantly making up potato salads, right? So there's one potato salad recipe on my website. I have a feeling it's similar to this, meaning that it's a cream-based, potato salad, but I'm not sure. So what I would do is,
it doesn't seem to be on the website. Do you want to, as you're chopping, just describe the
basically I really kind of already said. Normally I would buy a sherry vinegar, which I love so very much. Comes from Spain. Sherry vinegar has a very strong, yummy, delicious flavor, and that flavor is I cook the potatoes and I cut these while they're really warm. Right now, they're not really warm. They've cooled off. They've been on the counter for like an hour. But you put the vinegar on when the potatoes are hot, okay? When they're hot, because it just absorbs like a sponge.
Did you bake or broil the potatoes?
I boil the potatoes. Boil the potatoes, okay?
Boiled.
Boil.
And for how long?
Till they're done, till it's said, just like I say in the recipe here, till you can put a sharp knife, and it goes right through. okay?
Okay, and then can you substitute something else for the peas?
I would do cucumbers. I love cucumbers very much in potato salad. I like pickles or cornichons with the potatoes. I mean, potato salad's something that you just make up, right? And you can put a number of things in it. Okay, so I am literally just getting all this dressing out and making sure we're going to look very quickly in the oven right this very minute.
Carole, do you have a favorite brand of vinegar? And for the sherry
I do, but I don't. Here, let me just show everybody what this looks like.
Beautiful, absolutely stunning.
Okay, and now obviously it has to cool. Okay, so it's just going to sit here for this minute. I just want to, I don't have that brand at the moment, and I'd have to look it up, but it's a Spanish brand. But I do have a brand in my cabinet here. I'll just show it to you. Let me just find it. This brand, which is pretty good. This is the first time I've tried this. It's the same people that make the yummy balsamic. It's the Napa Valley. I've never tried this, but this is what I found when I moved here. So I just quickly bought it because I love sherry vinegar so very much. But but you don't want cooking sherry vinegar. Okay, there's a difference between cooking sherry vinegar and just sherry vinegar. So you want sherry vinegar for your potatoes. Okay.
Okay, very good. And are there any other spices other than sherry vinegar that you?
I love putting dill into my potato salad. Absolutely love putting dill. So let's get this mixed and finished so that you can see everything that's going into it. So we need, speaking of vinegar, we need 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar is going to go into this dressing. Okay, so I'm putting 1 tablespoon into there. Okay, and then we need 2 teaspoons, back to 2 teaspoons. And I'm somewhere wet my teaspoon, so we're just going to actually get 2 teaspoons. And this particular mustard usually just squirts out, but it just, if I can, oh, well, it really helps if you open the mustard, right? Because when you buy the mustard and it still has the paper on it, it doesn't come out, okay? So now that I have this open, I might as well just dig in there, okay? 2 teaspoons. Okay, and we need 1 to 2 cloves of garlic, which I've already chopped. Okay, so that's going into the dressing. Okay, right? So, and let's just make sure. And then we need 1 cup of chopped parsley. So I chopped it ahead of time. I got a big bunch of parsley. I actually use flat leaf parsley. Okay, it looks like this. You could use the curly if you like. Everyone has their own preference. I particularly love this flat leaf Italian parsley. So how much is 1 cup? It's about this much. And do you really need to measure it? Not really. Honestly, it's just learn to that it can be, you don't have to. Okay, so we're getting the dressing made here. Okay, and I see that my bowl is so full that I actually think that I'm going to get a bigger mixing bowl and not mix in that. So let's just make sure we have everything so I don't forget anything. So we have our waxy potatoes, we have peas, we have our dressing that we're making that has Dijon and cider. The chives. Onions are really delicious in any potato salad. So it's up to you what kind of onions you use. You could use green onions like this, right? Green onions. You can use what we're going to use this time because it's spring. We're using these chives, okay? These are onions, okay? They're all over the place at the moment. Or even in this kind of potato salad, you could use a shallot, but you would small dice it, okay? But you don't want to use a white onion in here because it would be way too strong, okay? Way too strong. So I'm just chopping these, okay? These are, and if you use the green onion, okay, obviously, I don't know if we need all of these onions. How much chives does it say? It says 1 bunch. Well, this is practically my bunch here, okay? Oh my God, does it smell so good. This smell alone makes me think, well, it's time for spring. Just this alone. I mean, I feel the same way about cutting asparagus, but this is really definitely, I had some asparagus for Passover, and that's really what reminds me of spring when we start our holidays in early April. Okay, so this is chopped. Okay, now just want to tell you, if you were to use this kind of green onion here, and I know many of you can't see necessarily my cutting board, but you would wash this, right? Get rid of the yucky part, and you would use this whole thing, right? So again, if you didn't have chives, you would just use this green part, okay? Right? Okay, so I'm just showing you that. Let's put that away. Let's get these onions. We're gonna put some of this in, and we're gonna leave some for topping, okay? And you could put dill in here too. Now, because I have so much in here, I'm gonna actually reach down here and actually get a proper mixing bowl, because it's gonna be a little crazy, and I'm just gonna get this all in here. This is gonna be our beautiful serving bowl. And then we're gonna get this dressing into here, okay? And I'm gonna use all of it, because I know we need all of it. And we're gonna pile that in here. And of course we need black pepper. You can't not have black pepper. Okay, a couple big twists of black pepper. Now this salad gets better over time. Okay, so if you make this salad tonight, you can definitely eat it right away, but tomorrow it's gonna be even more delicious. Okay, it's kind of like when you eat spaghetti or lasagna and you think, oh, it's so much better. So many things are better tomorrow. And as we talk all the time, it's nice not to, to batch cook and make all of this. And look, you could eat it all week long. Okay, do you see how beautiful? So the only thing this is missing is our beautiful sliced radishes. Okay, so I slice these radishes so that they're paper thin. I could only get red radishes here. Disappointment for me today, because last week I had the pink ones and the white ones and the purple ones. And I love having as many colors as possible because it's all about making it look beautiful. Okay, this bowl has a little wetness to it, and you don't want to add extra liquid, so I'm just getting that dried out. So we're gonna put these sliced, we're gonna, just like the onions, we're gonna put all these radishes in. They're paper thin, okay? You can see right through them. Look, it's super spring, okay? This is what I call super spring, because nothing looks like this except for spring. This is spring all over. Okay, so we're gonna get this, well, let's taste it first. Delicious, delicious, absolutely delicious. We used all of our parsley, and we have just our onions on the top, so we're gonna put this in the bowl. Okay, I have enough potato salad that if you're living in Taos, please call me. We could all have a meal together. We have plenty. We have quiche and potato salad. Look how pretty that is. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Delish. Okay, that is done. I like getting all the dressing. Okay, and we can finish that off. Let's get this pile of dressing. And then I like to put just some decorations on the top. I put a few of these just scattered across the top. Some of them are buried, some of them, okay. Oh, and I left these out to remind myself that this is a 2-for-1, just like beets, okay? You get a radish and you get these greens, and these greens are edible, okay? They're very delicious to cook, so it's a 2-for-1, okay? And then we are just gonna top this with the leftover. I still see some quite big pieces in here. I wish that you could smell what chives smell like, because they're so fresh. And that's just gonna get sprinkled on the top like that. Let's get it all off my cutting board. And let's remove, let's get all of these radishes into this. Again, I cut a bunch of little pieces because you always end up. Don't throw anything out. Okay, so we can say that we're nearly done. Let's get rid of all of this. And we are going to, I'm going to see if we can get one of these out. Let's just get this dried. So we have here our potato salad. Remember over here we have our beautiful, beautiful lettuce cups and sandwich. We do have a little frittata that I made earlier, but I do want to just show you, see if we can get this out here. I just want to show you how this comes out, okay? It's still quite warm, so it's a little risky to tell you the truth because I can barely touch it and it's still quite warm, but it's going to pop out. It is going to pop out. I'm going to take the side off. I'm just learning how to use this thing because I just bought it yesterday. There's the paper back there. Okay, and then this is going to pop out on my hand like this. It's pretty quite great. I'm going to flip this over. Yesterday, this had stuck to the glass, but it did not today. And this is still quite warm, but this paper is going to come off really nice. You're going to see. Again, it's a little risky when it's so very hot. There, came off clean. Look at that, bottom, top. Okay, pan, dirty pan. Okay, and then we would just put this on this plate with this one. So now we have two, actually. And if anybody, I think it's too hot. I'm gonna say that it's too hot. Let's just see. This is too hot. I just want to show you that it's actually hurting and burning my fingers, but it's out of the glass pan. The bottom is brown, okay? It's very, very hot, very hot. And I'm going to get a plate to see, let's just see if I can potentially get it out, because I know it's like people don't believe me sometimes that these things work without oil. But look at, you see this? It would be helpful to use a pan, a hot oven mitt. You see how this is coming off like this? And look it's got a little bit of a decoration. Can everyone see that it's got a little bit of scalloping? As if you made it in a beautiful pie pan, but you made it in just a regular glass pan. Okay? And then we're just gonna take this off, just like this. Very hot, everyone. I don't recommend maybe doing that, but this paper is perfectly clean. I almost would use it again, okay? And then, of course, you want to see me cut it, and we'll cut it into a shape, right? Into a pie. Let's just get a piece out of here. Remember, we have decorations on top, but we also have, it's hot. Hot, hot, hot. One is not supposed to cut things when they're so hot. But here is our frittata.
Stunning.
Vegetables. Okay, everybody can see, right? Everyone can see that it's really beautiful. That gets covered once it's cooled and it can be refrigerated. You can eat this all week. Let's look at this other one because we had a lot of little vegetables in this one, right? And we had this one, we had broccoli and we put some onions and basil, and this one is much more manageable. And I like this small individual servings. This way you could give somebody that with a side of salad and you've got a meal. So that's what this looks like. Okay, I'm just showing everyone, right? Everyone can see that?
Yep, I know my mouth is watering. I'm guessing everyone else's too.
The broccoli's really
wonderful
delicious.
compliments.
The broccoli's really yummy. Oh my goodness, the tomato, it's really delicious. You have to believe me for now, but it really is delicious. I encourage everyone to try. And again, you don't need a special silicone pan. You saw the silicone pan kind of makes it easy, but if you have just a glass pan with a piece of parchment inside, it works just fine. So you don't have to go out and buy anything special. So that is our class. That's
It's
it for
just
today.
awesome. Can you raise the potato salad again and the cups? So there's our potato salad. Absolutely wonderful.
I only have one hand, so I'll do it one at a time, Wendy,
Of
okay?
course.
This is our potato salad, okay? With peas, radishes, and potatoes. And again, this will last like days, and it will be delicious. It will be more delicious tomorrow and the day after and the day after because all the flavors absorb. Then I'm going to remove our pickled onions and we're going to just show our little lettuce cups. I'll just show one lettuce cup right now for in my hand.
Beautiful.
Okay.
So there's
and again, you're just going to fold that lettuce cup, right? You're going to fold it on its spine. You're going to close it like a burrito and you're just going to eat it like that, right? Beautiful. Okay. And then don't forget, if you don't want to have it in a lettuce cup, you can make a nice piece of toast and make a nice sandwich. Okay. And put avocado, whatever you want. Again, this is our alternative. Our pate is another alternative to eating our tuna salad that a lot of us make already if you're eating whole food plant-based, and we make it with chickpeas, right? So this is a totally different thing, and it's just kind of fun to mix it up, you know, so it's not so boring.
Carol, there's a question. There's a question on if you can use pumpkin seeds instead of sunflower seeds.
Oh, and if I remember right, if I wrote this up correctly, which let's just see if I did, because somebody's reading my mind. I write on here, you can also make pate with a combination of pumpkin and sunflower seeds, which would make it have another little more flavor and dimension. So yes is the answer.
Thank you. That's just awesome. So we didn't really have a lot of questions, and I'm just going to direct everybody's attention to the chat. I put in some upcoming classes with Plant Powered Metro New York in the chat, and also Carole's website, thevegievanguard.com. And Carole's website is Carole with an E at thevegievanguard.com if you have further questions. One thing I will mention is coming up on April 22nd, this Thursday, is a wonderful class with Ron Weiss, and it's the farmer at Ethos Farm, and also a gentleman from Rodale Institute, and we're doing a special presentation co-sponsored by the JCC for Earth Day. So please do join us April 22nd for Earth Day. Carole, you're getting compliments galore for the dishes that what somebody writes, they look amazing, mouth-watering, big thank yous. Always seeing you, Carole, really lovely. And yeah, all
nice. Thank you, Wendy.
Everyone, please join us again. Check out plantpoweredmetronewyork.com for upcoming events. We have a book club coming up. We have a nutritional support circle, Earth Day event, 2 other events with the JCC with the Dr. Columbus Batiste, and we're doing a mindful eating seminar also in the next couple weeks. So do come join us, and well done on the recipes, Carole.
Hi, everyone.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.